Putin sends shockwaves through Europe with the Satan II. The recent launch of the Satan II missile, or RS-28 Sarmat, as it's officially called, was a really important event. It wasn't just important for Russia, but for the whole world. This missile can travel between countries. It's considered one of the most powerful and destructive weapons in the world. It shows that Russia is still a major player on the world stage, able to shift the balance of power with its advanced weapons. While some countries, like Ukraine, are focused on smaller victories, Russia is focused on building up its power through nuclear weapons and a modern army. The Satan II was launched from the Plesetsk Cosmodrome in northern Russia. Moscow called it a successful operation. This missile is a major part of Russia's plan to prevent a nuclear attack. It's designed to make sure that any attack on Russia is met with a devastating response. It can carry 10 tons of nuclear bombs, and with a range of over 11,000 miles, the RS-28 can reach almost anywhere on the planet in minutes. This makes it a serious threat to any country that challenges Russia. The destructive power of Satan II is unbelievable. This missile can split into multiple bombs once it's launched. This makes it really hard, even for the world's most advanced defense systems, to stop it. Plus, each of its bombs is more powerful than the atomic bombs that destroyed Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. This means it can cause massive damage. Just one of these bombs could wipe out an entire city. And because the Satan II can carry multiple bombs, it creates a huge risk for its enemies. Looking at it from a global perspective, the launch of the Satan II isn't just a weapons test. It's a clear message that Russia is serious about defending itself and its place in the world. This new weapon comes at a time when things are already tense between Russia and the West. This is especially true when it comes to the Arctic, a strategically important area with lots of energy resources that both Russia and Western countries want to control. Russia, with Vladimir Putin as its leader, has made it clear that it will not be ignored on the world stage. Instead of trying to start a fight or take over other countries, the Kremlin has said that the Satan II is a key part of its plan to protect itself, designed to stop any attack and to make sure that Russia's safety is not threatened by NATO or other countries. Historically, Russia has always been ahead in the race for nuclear weapons. Since the Cold War, the Soviet Union and later Russia has relied on developing these powerful missiles, called ICBMs, as their main way of preventing attacks. The Satan II is in many ways the result of decades of work in this area. It's a weapon designed to keep Russia at the forefront of military technology that is both extremely precise and incredibly destructive. This missile replaces the older Voyevoda missiles known in the West as the SS-18 Satan, which were developed during the Soviet era. Even though these missiles were feared for decades, their technology was outdated and needed to be modernized. The Satan II is the answer to that need, giving Russia a state-of-the-art weapon that is not only more powerful, but also more maneuverable and harder to stop than its predecessors. Russia is upgrading its nuclear weapons at a time when things are becoming more and more tense with the West. This is especially true after the collapse of several important arms control agreements, like the New START Treaty, which Russia has pulled out of. Moscow feels like its borders are increasingly threatened by NATO's military expansion and other foreign powers. This has pushed the Kremlin to strengthen its nuclear capabilities. In this sense, the Satan II should not be seen as a weapon meant for invading or attacking other countries, but as a defensive tool to protect Russia's interests and maintain the balance of power in a world that seems to be getting more and more unstable. The development of the Satan II also shows how much importance Putin's government has placed on military spending in recent years. Even though Russia's military budget is small compared to the United States, the Kremlin has focused its resources on key strategic areas, like upgrading its ICBMs and improving its ability to respond to a nuclear attack. This strategy has allowed Russia to maintain a strong and effective military presence on the world stage, even during times of growing political and economic uncertainty. The Satan II is also a clear message to Washington and NATO. Russia has made it clear that it will not tolerate being pushed around on the world stage, and that it is ready to defend its interests with unprecedented destructive force if necessary. In this context, the launch of the Satan II can be seen as a warning to the West that any attempt to undermine Russian sovereignty will result in a catastrophic response. Some international observers have warned that the deployment of the Satan II, along with other recent military advancements by Russia, could escalate global tensions and increase the risk of a large-scale conflict. However, from the Russian perspective, these actions are purely defensive, a way to ensure that its national security is not compromised in a world where external threats seem to be constantly increasing. The launch of the Satan II has also been accompanied by the modernization of other branches of the Russian armed forces, including its T-14 Armata tanks, considered some of the most advanced and deadly in the world. These tanks, equipped with cutting-edge technology like automated fire control systems and reactive armor, are a testament to Russia's military resurgence and its ability to compete with the armed forces of any country on the modern battlefield. The T-14 Armata has been presented as a key element in Russia's military strategy, designed to outperform any opponent on the ground. Its deployment, along with the launch of the Satan II, reinforces the image of a Russia that is not only capable of defending itself, but also of projecting its power internationally. The combination of these two technologies, the Satan II and the T-14, sends a clear message to the rest of the world. Russia is still a top-tier military power, capable of influencing global events and defending its strategic interests with formidable force. For many analysts, nuclear deterrence remains a central tool in Russia's defense strategy. The ability to deploy weapons like the Satan II ensures that Russia's national security is not at risk, even in an increasingly uncertain global context. Although tensions with the West have increased in recent years, Moscow continues to insist that its nuclear arsenal is purely defensive, intended to deter any aggression and ensure that Russia can defend its borders and strategic interests. In short, Russia's launch of the Satan II missile is much more than just a simple weapons test. This event should be understood as a clear sign of Moscow's determination to maintain its position on the world stage, at a time when international tensions are at their highest point in decades. With the Satan II, Russia has shown that it is still a military force to be reckoned with the ability to defend its interests and respond with devastating force to any external threat. In the end, the Satan II symbolizes Russia's stance in an increasingly polarized world, a nation that, while not seeking direct confrontation, will not hesitate to use its military might to protect its sovereignty. This new weapon, along with other military modernization initiatives, is a central piece in Russia's nuclear deterrence strategy and a reminder that the global balance of power remains delicate and potentially dangerous.